So hello and welcome to another video. It is day 8 of Vlogmas. We have videos every day up until Christmas Day. So hope you're enjoying them so far. If you are, please do leave a like on this video. So today in this video we will be going through the World Cup qualifying groups for the UEFA nations, for the European teams. They were announced yesterday for the World Cup in Qatar. But before we go into it, and I'm going to be covering England's chances, Scotland's chances, Wales and Northern Ireland, the 4 home nations. I'll be seeing kind of what their groups are like and how I think they'll do in the tournament. Before we go into that, let's just go through some ground rules and kind of see when the game's going to be played, what the rules are, where you need to finish to qualify and all that kind of good stuff. First off, when are the World Cup qualifying matches? So they begin in March of 2021, so we're now in December of 2020, so we've got 3 months until that starts. We then have more in September next year, October and November. So yes, it is all going to be in 2021. There are some in March, some in September, some in October, some in November, and then there will be some playoffs in the following March in 2022. And when are the World Cup finals themselves? Well, you might be thinking March in 2022 for the playoffs might be a little bit soon, close to the World Cup, but no, it will not be taking place in May, June or July. It is the first World Cup ever to not be hosted in those our summer months. And I do just have the BBC website up here. They have some great information on the World Cup as well as the groups as well. And so it won't be held in May, June or July. Obviously it'd be way too hot for fans and for players during the summer. So yes, it is being held from the 21st of November to the 18th of December 2022. So in this time, in about 2 years, this day in 2 years will probably be around about the quarters or the semi-finals. So I can't believe we're already talking about this World Cup. It seemed so futuristic when it first got announced that it was going to Qatar back in the day, but yes, it will be upon us fairly soon. And how does the qualifying system work? So let me read out what the qualifying system is for this World Cup. So 32 teams will take place in the World Cup in Qatar, of which 13 will be from Europe. The 10 group winners in qualifying will secure their place at the tournament, whilst the 10 group runners-up will go through to the playoffs. So yes, there are 10 qualifying groups for the European nations. The 10 winners will automatically qualify. The other 10 will have to go into playoffs, and let me tell you how that works. They will go into playoffs along with the 2 best Nations League group winners who do not finish in the top 2 of their World Cup qualifying group. So that'll be 2 other nations, so that'll be 12 nations then who all play against each other. So the 12 teams play off and will be drawn into 3 separate playoff paths, each of which will comprise of semi-finals and a final, with the 3 winners heading to Qatar. So it seems a little bit complicated, but basically there will be 12 teams that go into playoffs, with 3 then qualifying, with a series of playoffs and finals against each other. So what about the home nation's chances? Let's start with my home nation, England. So we have been drawn with Poland and Hungary as our 2 kind of toughest teams. Obviously Poland have Robert Lewandowski, whereas I think the Hungary games are pretty winnable, to be honest. And then the next 3 teams that we have in there, I'd imagine, are all complete 6-pointers for us. Albania, Andorra and San Marino. Now, obviously these games are to be played in 2021, by which point I'd imagine that things would be starting to get to a bit more normality. So I would love to go to a few of those games. Imagine San Marino away or Andorra away. What a trip there'd be. But a couple of minnows in there, as well as Albania, who actually aren't too bad. They've got a pretty good squad. They qualified for the 2016 Euros, and I know that they're a pretty good team out there in the Balkans. And then Hungary and Poland, I mean, I guess we'd probably win those games. England usually do pretty well in qualifying. It is usually the tournaments themselves where we don't do very well. But we faced Poland in qualifying once again. We've done so in 1974, 1990, 1994, 2006 and 2014. So we're pretty used to playing Poland. Obviously, they do now have probably, arguably, the best striker in the world, Robert Lewandowski. Lewandowski? But yes, it's it's a very winnable group for England, and I'd expect us to qualify fairly easily, to be honest. Wales. I would say that Wales have a very tough group here, and yeah, although they are kind of drawn out second, and they'd probably be favourites to finish second and maybe going to the qualifying, like the playoffs or whatever, I still think they've got quite a tough group that I'm looking at just now. Belgium, that's going to be tough to get any points out of that, although yes, in the 2016 Euros they did obviously beat Belgium in such a massive historic game for the country, so they've got previous against the Belgians, but yeah, Belgium I think will be too strong. I think they'll probably win this group with ease. And then you've obviously got Wales, and then their other three teams are Czech Republic, Belarus and Estonia. Now, even the smaller teams there, Belarus and Estonia, you could have got easier draws out of that. Like England have got Andorra and San Marino as their kind of easiest ones. Wales have Belarus and Estonia, and they're two pretty tough places to go, I'd say. Long trips and yeah, kind of different cultures out there, and I don't know how much that really affects the players when they travel on these trips, but yeah, it could affect them. And also the other team in their group are Czech Republic, who are a good footballing nation. They've got some good teams out there as well as some good homegrown players, so I think Wales might struggle in that group. And yeah, with Bale now getting a little bit older, obviously he's now at Tottenham trying to re-find his form that he had at Madrid and Spurs before he went over to Spain. I think that's going to be a big factor in seeing how well Wales can do in this group. Can they keep the 30-plus-year-old Gareth Bale fit and firing for the national team through qualifying? Because he may see that World Cup as his last kind of hurrah as the Wales player. So yeah, who knows? It'll be interesting to see. And the group that you're all probably here to hear about, Scotland. Now, Scotland obviously qualified for the Euros just recently, a massive triumph for the country, and everyone's so proud of it. You saw the Open Goal podcast and all the, oh yes sir, I can boogie, all that stuff. I absolutely loved that, and yeah, you can see the pride in the people and how much it meant to everyone to qualify for the Euros, but obviously the World Cup is the big one, and yeah, you're all going to want to qualify for that. So how do you think we'll do? Do let me know in the comments if you think that Scotland can qualify, but yes, let's have a look at the group that they face. So I think Scotland have had a bit of a touch here with the qualifying group. So firstly, let's start with the smaller teams. Now, there are two kind of minnows that they have to play. The Faroe Islands, not too far away from Scotland. That won't be a long trip for them. And Moldova. So yeah, I mean, they are two completely winnable games, home and away. That's got to be 6 points there. If you drop any points there, then that's pretty shocking, but I don't think they will. I think Scotland will obviously win those games, and then they've got to face Israel again, a country that they've come up against a lot lately. They've played them in, obviously, the Euro qualifiers and stuff like that. And, yeah, they've done well against them. Obviously, they drew 0-0 in one of the most boring games of football I've ever witnessed. So I do think that if Lyndon Dykes can play like he did against Serbia, then why not? Why can't Scotland go on to win against Israel home and away, especially Faroe Islands and Moldova? You'd expect to pick up, yeah, 6 points against all three of those. And then Scotland would draw next, so you got Moldova, Faroe Islands, Israel, Scotland, and then two arguably better teams from the pot. So Scotland will then have to face Austria. Austria, if you think about their team, they've got Arnautovic, they've got Alaba. You know, they're a good footballing nation, so you'd be expecting to win that game at home. I don't think there's too much of a gulf between Austria and Scotland, although they were in different pots in this qualifying group. I do think that still you'd expect to win at home. Probably maybe draw away would be a good result there, just remain unbeaten in Austria. And then Denmark is the hardest team in the group. And yeah, if you think, you know, Austria and Denmark are the two hardest teams that they're going to have to play, if we look at the rest of the groups and you kind of look at the countries that they could have played if the draw wouldn't have been so kind to Scotland, let's have a look. So you could have had Portugal, Spain in the top spot, Italy, France, Belgium. Obviously you got Denmark, could have had the Netherlands, Croatia wouldn't have been too bad, Germany would have been hard, so I think Scotland have probably lucked out with that draw, to be honest. And then the second team is obviously Austria, and if we look at the second team in a lot of other groups, you got Romania, Poland, Slovakia could have been pretty tricky, Turkey would have been a tough away fixture, obviously Wales would have been tough with, you know, local derby kind of thing, Ukraine wouldn't have been that easy, Switzerland, Sweden and Serbia. So Yeah, I think, to be honest, Austria and Denmark are two that you'd probably pick out of pot 1 and 2 and think, we've got the beating of them as a nation. Scotland I'm talking about here. And yeah, fair play. I reckon they could actually do quite well. Just bring that group back up again and just go back through it. So Moldova, you'll win home and away. Faroe Islands, you'll win home and away. Israel, you should win home and away. Austria, win at home, draw away. And Denmark, win probably at home and potentially draw away. Think who Denmark have got. Obviously, Christian Eriksen's a good player, but to be honest, let's just Google the Denmark squad. Martin Braithwaite of Barcelona, obviously formerly of Middlesbrough, which is mad. And then Christian Eriksen, you look down the line, Yusuf Poulsen, yeah, not a bad striker, Kasper Schmeichel. But to be honest, apart from them, Kasper Dolberg was okay, was at Ajax, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Yeah, they got some good players, but you know, if you look at the Scotland squad of Robbo, McTominay, Tierney, I was so impressed by Dykes, like I've already said, against Serbia. So yeah, I think Scotland got a really good chance of qualifying for the World Cup. Spirits will be high after the Euros as well. So yeah, who knows? I'll be keeping an eye on it, of course. Now, Northern Ireland, let me just load up their group. Here we go. So I think they've got quite a tough group, especially considering they lost in the playoffs. In the Euros playoffs there, I'm not 100% sure they're going to be able to get through this group. Now, Northern Ireland fans, I know there's a few Northern Irish people who watch my videos, who comment and try and get me over there. I will hopefully be coming in 2021. Obviously want fans to be back in stadiums if I'm going to do a trip and stuff like that. So yeah, I do think that in 2021 I will be able to cover some of your clubs, as yeah, you got some cool historic grounds, the Oval and all that kind of stuff. So I would love to visit eventually, but looking at your group, I think it's going to be tough to qualify. You've got Lithuania as the easiest team. That's not going to be that easy. Again, like I said, we're Wales. Going out, that's quite a long trip out to Lithuania. Again, different culture. Again, I'm not sure how much that kind of affects the players, but I think the long trip probably does. Another long trip as the second hardest team is Bulgaria. That could have been easier when you consider that, you know, Scotland in that section there, the fourth team was Faroe Islands. To play Bulgaria, that is tough. A tough away trip. Then you've got Northern Ireland, then it's Switzerland and Italy. Remember, you've got to come second even just to get in the playoffs. You've got to win the group to qualify. Italy is obviously going to be tough home and away, the same as Switzerland. They're both two good footballing nations. Switzerland are usually pretty good in qualifiers as well. You usually see them at a World Cup. And then Bulgaria and Lithuania, I'm not confident, Northern Ireland fans, that you'll be able to get out of that group, but do let me know below if you think any differently. But do remember that you can still qualify if you are one of the best placed UEFA Nations League teams and you're not in, you know, the second place. So yeah, top 10 will qualify from the 10 groups. The next 10 runners-up will go into playoffs, as well as 2 or 3 other teams from the UEFA Nations League. So yeah, there's a few different routes in, but I think if you are to qualify for the Nations League, that is a long old slog, and there's going to be a lot of matches and a lot of ifs, buts and maybes, but who knows who's going to qualify. In football, we know that anything can happen. Please do let me know your thoughts on the World Cup qualifiers, and if you think your nation will qualify. Are you even from one of the 4 home nations, or do you support another team out there that I've not covered in this video? Please do let me know below. Please do hit the like button, it really does help the channel, and subscribe if you aren't already. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm uploading a video every day up until Christmas Day. The vast majority are going to be vlogs where I'm working with clubs and at matches and stuff like that. So yeah, do subscribe and do go back and watch a few of my videos. I'll leave a few on screen around my head just now so you can keep watching. I'll pop a playlist there, I'll put my subscribe button there and a few videos there. But yeah, cheers, if you can check them out, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.